What's going on, folks out there? You are watching or listening to another episode of the Game and Watch podcast. This is episode number 92. I'm your boy, Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool. I am joined once again with my boys. This time I got from the Loading Bar podcast, Max back with us once again. How you
Hey
doing,
everybody,
Max?
doing pretty
And
good.
of course, my main man, the F man.
Oh, wow. That's one heck of an intro. Well, thank you. I wouldn't have it any other way. So, yeah, glad to be here.
All right, just a reminder that if you are listening, that you can watch the video version of this podcast by looking in the show notes. You can either look at my links, Too Tall for You Fool, or Review Gaming. Watch a rerun of the podcast on either of our YouTube channels or Twitch or whatever, wherever you like to watch your video content. If you are watching, just on all listening platforms out there. You name it, we are there. So if you want to podcast a show, there's your opportunity. And we are on Patreon if you want to support us on Patreon. And, just give us some support. Um, all the links to whatever we're about to discuss today will be in our show notes. So, once again, before we get into it all, how we doing? Max, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. Been a little quiet lately. Just busy being an adult. It's great, love it. Pay my taxes.
Yeah, we all
You know how it
paid.
is.
Yeah, I don't know about in Canada, but inflation here in the U.S. is just a pain right now.
I actually have a
Man,
question.
yeah.
What's your gas at?
I had to fill up today. It bled my wallet. I paid about $70. It was like 6.37, at least here in where I live in Southern California.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
cheap. That's pretty cheap for California.
Yeah, it's. I
Ours
mean,
is,
I don't live in LA County, but yeah. What about you?
LA County's worse.
Yeah.
Right now, we are at about like 579. It just went down. It was like 599 like last week. So, yeah.
I just want to get back to the fours, man. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, the inflation is just killer right now. But Max, glad to have you back. F man, are you a father of two yet, or still a father of one?
I am still a father of one, so that,
Oh,
the second one doesn't want to come out, and yeah, we've been doing everything we can to have that second baby pop out. The due date's passed, so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just waiting at this point.
Just being stubborn, just like his daddy.
Yes, exactly, which is already a problem. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, doing well otherwise. Exhausted, waiting to go on paternity leave. I was supposed to take off last week, and the baby is supposed to be here, but that's not the case. I worked all this week, and then yeah, then I might have to go back to work next week. And who wants that? Uh,
Yeah, especially with the baby on the way. I mean, that's just that's not a good thing.
No.
So I mean, just hopefully the baby comes soon. Just yeah. I mean, yeah, that's all we can hope for. Just the baby coming soon, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy daddy life schedule to come jump on the podcast. I know you've been itching to talk about what's been going on in the world of
there's
games.
so much happened this week. It's been insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a little bit lonely on the video game side. So I'm just like, yeah, been itching. I'm glad I was able to get here last minute, and
Yeah.
yeah, just glad to be here with you guys to talk games today. And Max, I just by the way, I'm digging your shirt. By the way, just
Thank you.
you look like you're on vacation, and that's how I try to. That's my intention every day of my life. So,
You
um,
know, I try
Yeah.
to I've been trying to incorporate bartender shirts and attire into my regular, every day because it's my podcast. That's what I do. You got to look the part. Maybe I don't know. Your drinks will taste better. You'll mix it better.
I love it.
I feel great. I feel amazing. This is the
That's how it
softest
should
shirt.
be. Yep,
Uh,
I love a good Hawaiian shirt. Definitely all about that.
Hey, quick, out of curiosity, have you been able to go on the show yet, F, or not yet?
No. Is that a thing? Or am I allowed to? Am I allowed to be on the loading bar podcast?
You Yeah, you
I've been
absolutely
on it.
can.
Okay. Okay. I know you have been on it, but
That's totally flexing here.
I'd love to come on. Just give me a couple weeks, and we'll talk. We'll make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I just want to point out too. I think your name here says Mark Mr. Madness.
It
Oh
does.
yeah.
It does. I changed my identity
Oh,
for today, so I am Mark. So I actually should probably put this right here. And
Mark, if you're listening or watching, we love you, man.
yeah, let's go and get that changed right now. But yeah, we can continue on with the episode while I'm doing that.
All right. So, anything you guys want to discuss playing this week? I mean, I have a game I want to talk about, but it's in the main show, so I'm not going to talk about it. And apparently, it's the only game I've really had time to play this week. So, Max, anything you're playing that's not in the show description or outline?
you know what? Since the last time you saw me, it's been quite a bit, but I'll just kind of keep it strictly to recent stuff. So
Okay.
The Switch has kind of been my main gaming platform at the moment. It's been a bit of a minute since I touched it, but Monster Hunter Rise, hopped back onto that.
All right,
Having a
on.
blast with that. I finished Blasphemous. That's been sitting in my backlog for like ever.
Wait, before you move on, can you? I've had Blasphemous in my my back catalog for a while now, and I've been sitting on it. I do love. It's a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Metroidvanias, and that's why I picked it up. It was on sale, but I haven't played it yet. Could you give me a little details about it? Like, it seems. Yeah, I mean, it seems like. I don't know. It seems almost like a bloodier Castlevania to me from like just like the initial images that I've seen.
Mhm.
But I really don't know to take away from it. I don't know how long it is. And yeah, just a little bit about that loop.
Yeah, so absolutely. It's out of all of the Metroidvanias that I've recently played, like Metroid, and Bloodstained, not Curse of the Moon. That's the 8-bit
That's
one, but the
that's bloodstained.
Bloodstain.
Yeah.
It's not as
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's not as like equipment heavy. It's not as a lot of item management and things like that. It is strictly it's a Metroidvania, but it's nice and not. I'm not going to say it's short, but it's definitely like I would say a medium length. It's a good length, and it's just you have your skill trees. You level up at certain locations along the map. It's very religious and incredibly so. The bosses are, oh god, they're like H.R. Giger mixed with Christian scriptures and descriptions of the angels.
I mean, Giger is one of my favorite artists, so that if there's heavy inspirations of that, we're already in the right lane right there.
Well, it's just a lot of body horror, and it's labeled as a miracle, and that's why I think it's really cool. Is because people look at this and their vernacular for this is the miracle working its way, and I accept this. Here it is right here, and it's just the art is beautiful. It's grotesque. It's just something you love to look at, and you're just a nameless protagonist going on a pilgrimage for, well, to be honest, based on there's a few different endings that you can essentially achieve based on some of the actions and some of the equipment and things that you get. So it's really, I would say, up to interpretation. That being said, I've only completed it the one time, and there are 3 DLCs for it. So,
Oh.
yeah.
Well, it looks pretty good based on the previews you showed there, Finest.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a Metrovania game I have been playing. I haven't really played it this week at all, but Soldiers. It's that game we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I discussed it with Mark last week. That's a nice Metroidvania game to get into also. At the first boss of the first dungeon, and we'll see how far I get. But so far, I'm having fun with it. So
Nice. So that's what you're playing right now. All right. You totally froze right there. I didn't catch any of that. What'd you say?
Processing the answer.
Yeah. That's one of the games I'm playing right now. So
Well, tell us about the other ones.
The other one we'll discuss later.
Okay.
F man, what you been playing? I know you've been. Have you
I,
had time to play any games? Really? I mean,
yes and no. So, and this is something we'll be getting into later also. But the new PlayStation revamped PlayStation Plus. So did that little cheat that allowed me to get that at a cheaper rate, which
lucky
totally,
you.
which totally worked. So now I have premium for like 2 years for the next 2 years. So and it only cost me. I mean, it cost me those initial purchases of the PlayStation Plus that I stacked, and then it cost me one year of PlayStation Now, and so anyway, I saved money. I saved maybe $100 or something like that. But yeah, I jumped in there. That store is a mess,
Oh.
but we can talk about more about that later. But anyway, I jumped in. I downloaded Spider-Man Miles Morales from that. So
Hmm.
played that briefly, just initial stages, and very much it's right now it plays just like Spider-Man. So nothing to really report there. And then I just, pardon me, that's my phone. I just started Elden Ring.
You started
Um,
Elden Ring finally.
I started Elden Ring, so
Nice.
I'm at the very, 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 very beginning. I just entered the world. I haven't even exited the first room, but I created my character. I'm starting off with an astrologer, um, and yeah, I want to be magic based. So that's gonna be my first character in Elden Ring, and we'll see how that goes. And
Nice.
other than that, I've been playing Ollie Ollie World. That just got a new DLC. I still haven't even beat the initial game, but been playing that, and then I also picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. So I'm looking forward to playing that with Too Tall. Max, I don't know if you're into that game, but
So yeah, before we started talking,
Yeah.
Justin and I admitted that through the Discord, listening to you guys like sing this game's praises, I got it like an hour ago.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty great so far.
That's amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Okay. So that's 6-player co-op. So we have to
Yeah.
We'll
corral our
coordinate.
Discord and make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We'll make it happen for sure.
and my last story before I end my note was so I purchased it off of Amazon, not really realizing that the physical copy isn't going to be out. I'm sorry, not Amazon. I purchased it at Target, and then realizing that the Target physical edition isn't going to come out till August 31st. So that
I
was
think it's
kind of,
gonna come out sooner, but I mean that's probably
yeah.
the date they gave you. But
Yeah, it says August 31st, and when I checked it on the website, so that was kind of embarrassing because I was expecting it today. I was like, "All right, it's gonna get here, woo!" Yeah, I'm like telling Justin, I'm like, "Yeah, it should be here like today." And
yeah,
then,
I was wondering like, yeah, because they said the physical copies. They said they'd start shipping next month. So hopefully,
yeah,
I mean, I got mine through Best Buy, and it says I'm gonna get my physical copy at the end of July. So
Mhm.
we'll just have to wait and see. I got yeah, we'll talk about it a little later, but I got the digital for PS4/PS5, whatever you want to call it, and then I'm getting a physical copy for the Switch. But yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
all right. But I mean, well, let's jump into this week's topics. What's going out and what's going on in the world of gaming with the gaming news call outs, and just to touch on what Finance was briefly talking about. The PlayStation Plus is finally here in North America. It is finally here, and from what I've heard, it is a bit of a mess. But
A
I
beautiful
mean,
mess.
yeah, a beautiful mess. I mean, you have the three tiers, which I can finally get. You have the essential, which is just the regular one if you didn't upgrade or anything, which is what I have. You have the extra, which is $14.99 a month or $100 a year, and then you have the premium, which is about $18 a month, $120 a year, at least here in the U.S. And one of the things I did here is people can relax now. The PS1 games, it's the NTSC versions of them, so it's not the PAL version. So people can just relax on that now. Uh, So I mean, it's here. I mean, is it the answer? Is it PlayStation's answer to Game Pass? I guess so. But is it a Game Pass? Not really. Sort of. Maybe. I don't know. Finance. I know you've been experiencing this, so you want to lay out to the people out there watching or listening how the new PlayStation Plus is going. Oh, there we go. NBA 2K. That's what I want to see.
I
Hey,
think we lost you there.
Finest, I think your mic is muted.
Thank you very much. So I just explained the entire thing in that like 5 seconds.
Now do it again.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear me, you missed it. No. I'll start off just by saying, yeah, it popped up in my taskbar. There was, I don't know, I like it's been there for a couple of days now, and I was like, I finally need to jump into this. And yeah, I jumped in, and it was broken down. I've only been in there once, but they had it broken down in like several different categories. They had it like, um, they had PS3 games or like classic games. They had downloadable games. They had just all these different sections. I started off in just all the available games, just to kind of see like what's available, just so I can scroll through that. And it's very much like the PlayStation Store. I don't know if you've ever scrolled through like the PlayStation Store, just like on one of their
Yeah.
sales, where they just have
Oh man.
like 1,000 games just in this list, and I just kind of scroll through. Of course, all the most popular games are up at top. You had like a Red Dead Redemption, you had Spider-Man Miles Morales, you had, I don't know, a couple other games. I looked at their trials. There wasn't too many games for the trials available. There's probably maybe like 12. The WW2KE was on there though. So I thought about you, Justin, when I saw that.
Yeah.
But
Good game. Good.
yeah, I mean, it's just right now, it's really tough to recommend.
It is.
Looking at the PS3 games, that catalog looked actually pretty decent. It's nice that they actually had all 800 games. Like they have actually over 800 games that came out, just like they promised. Because when they were releasing in other countries, they only started out with like 200, 300 games. So that was a little bit weird. And then, like Justin mentioned, you got the PAL versions, which we don't have to worry about. But yeah, it's a tough recommend, just mostly for the reason that these games are like the most popular. Like a lot of these are the most popular games on PlayStation. So like if you wanted Red Dead Redemption, like by now I'm sure you would have played it. If you wanted to play Miles Morales, I'm sure by now you wanted to play it. Like, and then like the rest of the catalog that's like filled out with games for like PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. A lot of it is, and even like some like a good portion of the PS3 games. A good portion of them are games that have been available on PlayStation, the PlayStation Network. That they just like they've gone on sale like 1,000 times, and like at the cheapest point, like they've probably been like $9.99 or so, somewhere in that realm, or like $20,
Yeah.
or I think the only game I'm like really excited about playing is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I wasn't sure it's very broken up like in the way of like which games are downloadable and are not. Most of them are downloadable, which is great news. So you can play
Yeah.
directly off your system, except for the PS3 games. But
Boo.
yeah, no, we all know why that is, and if you don't, we can go into that. But yeah, it's just like all the games in there are games that like I've had an opportunity to buy and I didn't purchase because it like I never wanted to spend like $20 like even on these games. Most of these video games are worth $20. Like a lot of them, but a lot of it's just junk. So they're going to be updating it once a month. I think the first Tuesday of every month. So we'll see what else they bring. Yeah, and I can't play, or no. The only I didn't download Stray, and I think that was the only game that I'm really interested in, other than Miles Morales and
I think, well, Stray
like
doesn't come out till next month.
okay, well then that's
Yeah.
a good reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, that comes out mid July, I believe. So
yeah. July 13th.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so you would not recommend it. It'd be a hard recommend right now. You think people who have PlayStation Plus.
Oh, we keep on losing you.
Mm.
I would say in terms of recommendations, I would say the best people this would be for is a person that just purchased a PlayStation. Or if like it's a present for someone, like it'd be awesome to like provide them with the PlayStation Plus in addition to the console, because then you have access to all those games. But if you've been like in the PlayStation ecosystem for like the last 7 years,
Yeah.
um, it's probably not worth it. Or yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. So you don't, yeah, Max, you don't play on PlayStation, right?
Oh, of course I do.
Okay,
I'm
you
a
do.
PlayStation Switch guy. Yeah. When I look at this, like, none of this really interests me. I'll probably stay Essentials for, I don't know, the majority of my PlayStation existence at the moment, because the biggest thing about this that I guess keeps me away is the currency of time that I'm spending. Am I really going to get to every single one of these games that I'm upgrading to play? Probably not. I'm probably not. Like you said, like if a lot of it is just going to be things that I'm not willing to play, um, like for example, I have no interest in playing Jumpman on PS1. I know it's great. I know people love it, but personally, I have no interest in it. So having that in there, it just feels like I'm spending money on. I'm spending money for like an $800, or sorry, not $800, 800 game library that I'm only going to play like maybe like half roughly, and it doesn't seem like enough incentive to spend that time, spend that money. And then if there is things that I do want to play, maybe I do want to play all 800 games. I don't have time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't either, and you bring up a very good point here. As gamers, we got to be very selective on what we play, especially, we're adults now, and it's just, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, do we really have time to play all these games? I mean, I think the library is great, the choices are great, but if you're only going to play like less than a fourth of these games, it's definitely not worth it.
I
At
mean,
least the 120.
what would make this what would make this not a buy and Game Pass a buy then? Because Game Pass is the exact same thing. You get a catalog of like
Um,
hundreds of games, but you don't have time to play them all. So
uh, well, I think with Game Pass, um, might
I don't know.
good question.
Yeah. And J man, I don't know. You keep on freezing. I don't know if you like want to dip and come back or anything like that. Um, but yeah, What about you? What would you say, Max?
Even with Xbox Game Pass as like personally, also I don't have an Xbox like the current generation. Um, I again, it's great that you have day one titles, and I think that's a huge draw, and I would absolutely be drawn in for that. But again, if I'm not going to play um, like a good chunk of that library, if it doesn't interest me, I'm not going to touch it. But I do like that it cycles in and out, so you do have a chance to maybe you do for that month have an entire list of games that you just want to get through, or the majority of them are like amazing titles and you do have the time, then absolutely go for it. But um, I'm kind of I feel like I'm fence sitting at the moment.
Yeah,
But I do think Xbox Game Pass is a little bit, just like, I think it is a better idea, better executed.
just since I am running both right now, I would say
Yeah.
like for Game Pass, being able to play a game day one has like much more value, just in the sense that like you don't have to go out and purchase that game at a $65 rate and then play that game. You get to play that game immediately. Where this has like 2 year old, like a couple 2 year old PlayStation 3 year old PlayStation games, or PlayStation 4 slash PlayStation 5 games. So like just like at this point, those games are like at a discount rate. They're not.
Yeah.
Those games aren't hard to pick up, or they haven't been hard to pick up for a while. And I think that's like going to be one of the big differences right there. Other than that, I don't know. It's just just the. I think it's worth it to do it regardless. Like if they add like just two games, like two hitters a year, like I mean, and then you pay off that value. If you're paying, I think it's for the year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it's like $130, $140, or maybe
120, 120 a year.
Yeah, $120 a year. So I mean, if they have two bangers in that library, or at least like some third party bangers, it can very much be worth it. It's just right now there's not. Like there's bangers in there, but they're just like I've already played God of War. I've already played all these.
They're
games.
old. They're old bangers.
I've already played all these games. Miles Morales and the Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla are the only two games that I haven't played yet out of this. And I've been like kind of like wish-washy on Valhalla. I'm like, I don't want to pick this up. I always pick up these Assassin's Creed games from Ubisoft. I play them for like, maybe like 20 hours and then I end up dropping off. So, and then Miles Morales, I just was waiting to pick that up on PS5, but now that I have it available to me, I will absolutely play it on PlayStation 4. But I don't know. Teach their own.
And that really is it. It's really just comes down to personal preference at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, definitely. I'm glad one of us has the PlayStation Plus Essential. Yeah. No, premium. I keep saying I get these tiers are just so confusing. Yeah, premium. If you guys have any questions about that, just email us, GameWatchPodcast@gmail.com. Finance would be more than happy to answer your question. All right.
It's okay to stay essential.
All right. So moving on, Overwatch 2 has a beta release, and looks like the beta is coming out. What is it? June 28th. It's going to be available on Windows, PC, and for console players as well. Let's see. So, is this something for players to be excited about with the Overwatch 2 beta? I mean, Activision Blizzard. I mean, we know they've been going through their thing, but does Overwatch 2 still have a strong support base after all that? What are your thoughts, Max?
I'm gonna say yes. You will always have players for whatever series, for whatever beloved series. You will always have a player base. This is in no way going to, I think, completely, I guess, bury something like Overwatch. One thing that I think will actually, and this was like, I don't know, calculated, but recently I was reading that this is going to be free to play, as opposed to the original Overwatch, which was not. So I think that's going to draw on a lot of people. That immediately makes me happy, because how do you make an Overwatch 2? That's always been like the biggest question. Overwatch 1 is just something you constantly add on to, and making a sequel to that, it's like the same game but with more stuff. And at that point, you might as well have just left it in Overwatch 1.
What
are your thoughts on the beta? Something to get excited about? Something you stand behind?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Max just hit it on the nail on the head. That's what people are wondering. It's like, how or what do you bring to Overwatch 2 to differentiate it from Overwatch 1? They consistently updated Overwatch 1, added new characters, and really brought in the story along with those characters, and did mini shorts and stuff and trailers and things of that nature. And just really developed those characters throughout the process. They also really listened to the community. People really wanted to see black characters in the game, and they brought them. They brought Doomfist, and I believe the other one is Sophina or something like that. But yeah, I you know what, it being free to play, I think, is definitely the way to go. The game is primarily cosmetic, so think this is a good start. I don't think when they showed their trailer that you saw a lot of differences like in gameplay. I think they still need to show like what's gonna be the biggest difference from this one to the first one. And I think players at this point are a little scared.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared for the game, but I feel like Blizzard has been hanging on this for so long. They've been working like so hard on this. So I think it's gonna bring the goods. We may not get everything day one. Um, we may not get everything day one, but I think it's going to be just a development over time. Whatever engine or whatever improved engine they're working on, I'm sure it's going to be easy to develop for, or easier to develop for. They're going to be able to bring more skins, more modes, and I think it's going to be supported really for a long time. I don't think they're going to hit their high peak like they did with Overwatch 1, because that was like the thing that brought everyone to Overwatch 1. It was just like, oh, with this game, you like don't have to be a great you don't have to be a great you don't have to be great at shooters.
Yeah, you don't have to be, but
No.
it
Yeah.
helps. But
Yeah, exactly.
Like they rewarded you for everything. Like if you were a great support character, buffing or just revitalizing your like the characters. They had classes for like basically everyone, and I don't think they're going to be able to really capture that magic because now it's a thing. It's already a known quantity, so people aren't really going to be like, "Oh, this is amazing!" like it was in Overwatch 1. But I definitely think there's a player base there. People loved Overwatch for still to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just it's going to be excellent. People are gonna enjoy it, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get there.
yeah,
think so,
yeah. I think it is too because Overwatch. I thought this game was just gonna keep going on forever and ever, kind of like Destiny. Then they put out Destiny 2, so I guess same thing with
Yeah.
Overwatch. Just gotta do Overwatch 2. Hopefully, they make the improvements that they couldn't capitalize with Overwatch 1.
Mhm.
But I mean, uh, fans of the game, something to definitely be excited about. And sticking with Activision Blizzard, another one of their games, their next Diablo console-based game, not the Diablo Immortal that was on your cell phone that
Yeah.
people thought was an April Fool's joke. That video was funny, by the way.
That was a great clip.
But yes, Diablo 4 beta registration has quietly gone live. So, I mean, we know that this is going to be big too because there are a lot of Diablo fans out there that have been wanting to get their hands on the next console or PC based Diablo game. Not no something you can play on your iPhone or Android phone or whatever. Finance, anything you wanna add to this Diablo 4?
Yeah, I think people are kind of in the same boat, like Blizzard fans. That the people that love like Diablo, the people that love like Overwatch, and we're waiting for sequels. And what I've been hearing and I've been gathering from the Twitter sphere is that people are disappointed.
Your mic went silent there.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
All right, Maxie, you wanna
I'll give it a go.
yeah.
I have an interesting history with Diablo.
Oh, you do. All
I
right.
do. So kind of back like 2013, I was working at an EB Games, which is GameStop, which is now also GameStop in Canada. And I ruined everybody's Diablo 3 pre-orders because I didn't know what I was doing. So they'd come in and they'd put their money down. Some people would pay full price, and the way I was punching it in would not log it as full price. It would log it as $5, the bare minimum to basically put down on a game. So I had to call everybody and try to track them down through their receipts and explain to them that they're going to have to come in and basically void everything and redo it. And I didn't get fired, but I did have to alphabetize the entire GameStop. So a little bit of history with that, yeah. But one of the big things, let's bring it back to Diablo 4. One of my favorite things about this is that it's releasing on console. When Diablo 3 hit console and it was couch co-op, it was like a breath of fresh air for me and my friends at the time. We were, I don't know, kind of just sick of online gaming, and it was just nice to kind of go back to something like that. And if Diablo 3 is any indication of, you know, having the same kind of aspects of couch co-op and the fun of looting together and everything like that, then I'm super hyped for it. I'm super down, especially if I don't have to spend. I don't know the exact amount of money, but it was like 24 million or something like that to hit max level in Diablo Immortal.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'm optimistic.
Fine, got your mic fixed there, dude.
I'm all good to go. That might happen like 20 more times. So
Wow.
hopefully not. But the great part about podcasting. So
Yeah.
anyway, what I've gathered from people and what I've been hearing and like just among the masses is a little bit of disappointment about the game. I think people were expecting a little bit more. It very much looks like Diablo 3. In addition to that, they announced like the final class, and all the classes are all classes that have been previously announced and have been able to be played. The last one being the Necromancer that they recently announced. So I think there was a lot of disappointment in that because people are just like, I've already played this. It's available on Diablo Immortal. Like you can play it on you can play that class on your cell phone right now. So I think people were looking for just like a little bit of fresh injection of like something new within that. And then the graphics didn't look like all like that great. I mean, they look good, but they didn't look like just astounding. And then there was just like some things that like people were possibly noticing, just in terms of like attributes and armor and like things that you would like normally see in the HUD. Like we didn't see that, but that can just be because we were being shown a clip versus actually playing the game. But I'm curious to see. I also want to see how they handle trading and the store, because I know originally in Diablo 3,
the auction house.
Yeah, the auction house was a mess when it first came out. Oh my gosh. So I'm sure I'm pretty sure like it'll be a copy and paste for the most part. But I'm hoping once again, we just need to see a little bit more. And I'm probably like, this is going to probably be a common thread for me throughout this episode, because when they did showcase this, and I'm just like, okay, looks like more Diablo. And I don't know if I need that. And I can play the Diablo 2, the Resurrection, or I can play Diablo 3. And if I'm going to get the same thing out of it, I mean, I already have my characters, for those games, and I'm happy to play those, 20, 50 more hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
So yeah, it looks like it's going to PC, and it's going to be for the Xbox Series X and S and PS5. It doesn't look like it's going to be on PS4 or Xbox One, unless they change their mind. But it seems like a lot of third-party developers are going that direction now. I guess they're thinking more people are getting PS5s and Xboxes, Series X's and X's, I guess. But I mean, we'll just have to keep updated on that. So Diablo 4 beta registration, get in on it, guys. All right. So there's been a lot of concern about this game that's coming out later this year, Sonic Frontiers. And me, if you know me well, I'm a big fan of Sonic 3D games. I like them better than the 2D games. And I'm a retro gamer to some. So me liking the 3D Sonic games better than the 2D games might be weird to some people, but I mean that's all I like them. I mean, I think they're very good games. Not all of them. Not the last one. Sonic Forces was trash, but I want this game to do very well, and it's been getting a lot of hate online. But I want to know, is Sega showing us the full game? I don't think that they are based
No.
on what I've been hearing. And even writer Alana Pierce, she played it. She said that it was the one of the worst demos she had ever played in a video game, and that's saying a lot. And the one thing
Mhm.
she did like about it, she said she couldn't discuss, and she even went on a limb to say that Sonic fans, you should have nothing to worry about with this game. So, Max, we haven't talked to you in a bit. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on what you've seen with Sonic Forces and Sonic Frontier, excuse me? And
Yeah.
do you think we as Sonic fans have something to worry about with this, or it's just are they not showing us everything? What are your thoughts?
So I've got a few things that I kind of want to touch on with this, and potentially for your listeners, maybe some new information. But I think that this doesn't like there is. When I first looked at this was like where there's nothing here. It almost feels like empty. And when I say like empty, it's like yes, I'm in this world. Yes, there's rings. There's all of like the sounds, the um, everything that you would, I suppose, expect to be part of a Sonic game is there. But it just needs there's a bunch I feel like that's missing, but I can't really pin down what that is. Um, Maybe it's more enemies. Maybe it's I don't know. There is a lack of music in this that I noticed as well, and Sonic music just slaps. So it's kind of a shame
Yeah,
we
the
don't hear
music
anything.
sucks. Sonic games over the years has had some of the best video game music, quite frankly.
Yeah, I run to that. Um, but anyway, makes me go fast. But no, I look at this and I think that okay, so before we started, I caught an article where someone had a screenshot of Sky Sanctuary
Oh
in
yeah.
Sonic Frontiers, and it appeared to be very linear and very much like a regular 3D Sonic level. So that kind of opens the door to some questions about maybe this is just a hub world. Maybe this is like an overworld that you can explore, find collectibles, and then you go to uh, stages. Because I don't think he necessarily, the director or and Sonic team necessarily said that this was totally open world. I think they call it an open zone.
Open zone,
Um,
yeah.
so that could be the way that they're kind of taking this. Um, that they're still going to have those 3D linear Sonic levels, but they're adding this kind of aspect to it, which I think would be fine and would explain a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know first impressions mean a lot to a lot of people, but
Mhm.
if you have writers saying, "Hey, I don't think you have anything to worry about," um, should we be worried? What are your thoughts, F?
I would say, I already touched on this a little bit when we saw those initial impressions, like what 2 weeks ago.
Yes, about
Um,
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
but yeah, the music was one aspect of it. It was very methodical music. It was very like relaxing and calming. And it felt very much like Breath of the Wild, like I said a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago. Which when you're playing a fast paced game where like movement is everything, the music doesn't match the type of gameplay that
Hmm.
Sonic typically provides. On top of that, so when we talked about a couple weeks ago, those were just like the first impressions. We saw the fighting, and we saw just the world, the world gameplay. And since then, there's been so much that's come out about this game, and I actually feel bad for the Sonic team because at this point they've had um, they've had petitions started to delay the game. They said they're the team creating this game. They said they're not gonna delay the game. The director's like, no, we're not gonna delay the game. He's like, the only way we delay the game is if like our team got COVID or something to that regard.
Yeah, it
The
sounds like
other
it's not getting delayed.
Yeah.
yeah, So there's that aspect. They said they were inspired by the movie, which is like okay, like you're inspired by the movie. I don't see the relation there, but it was inspiration from there. I'd love to for them to dig a little bit more into that. But on top of that, they've allowed gameplay like first like hands-on time with all these different outlets. They have a whole bunch of embargoes on this game, so a lot of the outlets can't talk about them. But what I'm hearing from a general consensus from most of the outlets out there is that this game is not as bad as they thought it was. Like
Mm,
that, and that's not telling me a lot. Like they said, like the movement and the actual gameplay itself, like the walking in that initial first gameplay where like we talked about like how it
yeah.
would look like he looked very wonky when walking around. They very much said that was a choice. Like you can run, you can like zip through like the level, go like different part to part. The only thing that's really stopping you is like the puzzles in between. So and that would allow you to a different zone. Um, and other than that, I mean, they said the fighting wasn't it felt better than it looked.
Mm,
So that's good to hear. I think this while this may not be the Sonic game we all wanted, um, it's I don't think it's gonna be horrible. Um, but I think in the same respect, like Sonic is bigger than it's ever been. Like
yeah.
my son knows Sonic, and he's 3 years old.
Mm,
And then all these other generations know Sonic the Hedgehog too. And then we grew up with Sonic,
yeah.
so I think it's important that you provide him with a serviceable game, especially right now when he's at his height. Like Sonic is like his
This was like the most popular he's ever been.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to really nail a game, but I don't think it's going to be possible in this game. This game is almost complete right now.
Yeah.
It's set to be um,
Holiday
holiday,
2022. Yeah.
yeah, this year.
Yeah.
And Max, and what you were saying, like in terms of like it might be missing something, I think that something that's missing, and I talked to Justin about this a couple weeks ago, was the levels. Like the levels were as big of a character in those Sonic games as Sonic was. Um, and these levels that we've seen so far, they look very generic. They don't necessarily make sense. I know Sonic games like already like were kind of like out there.
Yeah.
But just having floating platforms and things of that nature that are just there in this world, uh, it you can provide a little disbelief in games, but you still want it to make sense in the context of the situation and what's going on. And Green Hill Zone and all these other levels in the Sonic games where are iconic. They are
Mhm.
iconic, and that's what people think of when they think of Sonic the Hedgehog. They think of Sonic, and they think of him running through these immaculate levels with great music.
Mhm.
And with with
Yeah.
this, we're missing all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
mean, yeah.
that's sorry. But that's what like made Generations like so great. And I love that you touched upon that the zones are characters themselves. Like
Yeah.
when you think of you think of Green Hill, you think of Chemical Plant, you think of Sky Sanctuary, you think of Angel Island, you think of
Casino Zone,
Casino Zone,
Yeah.
like City Escape, even with the 3D era, and
Yeah. City Escape.
um,
That's a fun one.
it just it, it's just so important to have that. And thank you. You answered the question. What is missing?
The zones, not
Zones.
the open zone is just, I guess, the open, and then I guess you choose what zone you get to go into. I mean, it's kind of getting me thinking: is it gonna be like, Sonic Generations with, familiar zones like Sky Sanctuary? Or are you gonna throw some new zones at us? Familiar zones. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean,
Mhm.
like I said, I'm a big fan of these 3D Sonic games. I want to see it do well. I think it will be better than Sonic Forces. Like I said, that game was not the business. It was not a good game, but you know, it's looking like they're really taking their time with this game, and they're not just putting something together, last minute. Like, here you go, Sonic Forces. You can make your own character. Yeah, I think they're trying to move on from that. But I think what like a remaster or remake of Sonic Adventures 1 and 2, or just Sonic Adventure 3.
Mhm.
That's what I think 3D Sonic fans would like to see. But are we going to get there anytime soon? I don't know. I know the director of the Sonic team was saying he would like to make another Sonic Adventure game. I'm just wondering what's taking him so long to do it.
Mhm. Let me ask you something before we move on from Sonic.
Mhm.
There was another article, I think, that was posted in the Discord about how the Sonic team believes that younger fans gravitate toward 2D Sonic and older fans gravitate towards 3D Sonic. And I know that you initially opened this, Justin, with you prefer 3D Sonic, and I always thought it was the opposite. I always thought it was what you started with kind of colored your perceptions of what you liked.
Well, I'll tell you my story. I mean, I didn't have a Genesis growing up, so
Mhm.
just if I ever did play Sonic the Hedgehog, it was either at my cousin's house or a friend's house, whatnot. And then, I had a GameCube when I was in high school, and actually, no, we had a Dreamcast, so like that was when Sonic got a little popular again, and I really deep dived in the Sonic Adventure, the first one. And then when Dreamcast went defunct, I mean, I know Sonic Adventure 2 came out on the Dreamcast, but eventually we got that for the GameCube, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, yeah, Battle, I guess Battle something, I forgot. But yeah, just that's when, I really fell in love with the Sonic 3D adventure games, and,
Mhm.
just Sonic Forces, just Sonic Unleashed. The list kept going on and on. And then, I'd revisit the Sonic 2D adventure games, later on. Um, I, well, based on what he said, I don't think that's a fair assessment. I do think more people our age prefer the 2D Sonic games, and the younger generation likes the 3D Sonic games a little better. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just telling you my personal experience with Sonic and why I like the 3D adventures better than the 2D ones. And
No, for sure.
um,
I think both of those are fair assessments, and I
mm,
think there's a little bit of truth to both of those. Like,
mm,
yeah, I think you're more geared to, want to go to those games that you grew up with. I grew up with platformers and side scrolling games, so I prefer like Sonic and those type of games over the 3D ones. But for all that newer generation, anyone that like pretty much had, a Dreamcast or GameCube up from there, maybe that started with those Sonic games or things of that nature, all got to experience 3D Sonics first. And, only 3D has only gotten better since then.
yeah,
So I think that's what their preference would be in most cases. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And it's just a shame that Sonic hasn't gotten better as 3D in general has gotten better. I mean, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's
But
just
they haven't given up on them.
Nope,
yeah.
not
I
without
mean that.
trying.
Yeah, yeah, they haven't given up, and that's what makes me happy is that they are still right. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's had
yeah.
more games, Kirby or Sonic?
Oh man.
Whoa. Overall, I want to say I would have to say it's a tie.
It's a
Yeah.
tie.
Just to be
Yeah,
Such a
safe.
cop, it's
Yeah.
such a cop out.
if you want to, I mean, Sonic has a bunch of 2D side-scrolling games, not just from the Genesis, but you gotta think of the Game Gear.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. We'll have to break down those numbers later and uh, and find out who definitely has more games. I think
On
it'd be
the
a close one.
on the final note for Sonic, Sonic Frontiers. I want an ugly Sonic skin. I
That
want
would be
ugly
amazing.
Sonic.
That would be amazing. That would that would help me buy it.
Sonic and
I
his
would.
FBI show. I want it.
Well, I mean, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I mean, he was on there, so
That's what I'm talking about. I want that one.
Yeah, that ugly Sonic was classic.
that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, very very funny movie. If you guys haven't seen Chippendale Rescue Rangers on Disney Plus, you definitely gotta check it out. Hilarious. All right. We're gonna talk about one of the games I've been playing. Well, since yesterday, since it came out, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, and it had like a 80 score of 84 on Metacritic. But I mean, I played it. I played through the story mode. I played late last night with some friends. trying to get through arcade mode. We put it on the hardest difficulty, so unfortunately we didn't get through it all the way. But um, what can I say? It's I think this blows any other Ninja Turtles game I ever played out of the water, straight up. And I'm not just saying that because it looks better. It's just based on the cartoon show. This is like the beat 'em ups of beat 'em ups. I think this is the best of its kind, and it would be ashamed if this is not nominated for award at the Game Awards this year. Very fun game, lot of Easter eggs. It's what we've been wanting. This is the game all the fans of the series has been wanting since Turtles in Time. It's a little bit of Turtles in Time, a little bit of the Manhattan Project, a little bit of the original arcade game, even a little bit of the original NES game with the overworld. They knocked it out of the park. Though Me Too and Tribute Games, they did a very good job with this. I know there's been talk about DLC. I don't think they need to make DLC because the replay value is just so incredible. I mean, the 6-player online co-op or local co-op. I mean, the fact that you can be Casey Jones, April O'Neil, or Splinter, all the bad guys in the game. It's just amazing. And if you watch the old 1987 show, there are some Easter eggs. I don't want to give too much away on that, but you're just gonna be like, oh my god, these guys did their homework. You got to give these guys props. They literally not only played the old games, but they watched the show too. They did their homework. They gave us the game of games that people have been waiting on for years, and I think the Cowabunga collection should have came out first because I think
It's overshadowed now.
yeah, hell yeah, it is. Finance, you're a big fan of Turtles. I don't know if you've had a chance to play yet, but what are your initial thoughts based on the reviews you've seen?
Yeah, no. So I'm really excited for this game. I'm excited to play with you. I'm actually a little devastated. I wasn't invited to that party last night. Um, so
I thought you were having your baby. I thought you were.
I'm supposed to have that baby every day. So that doesn't mean don't send me an invite. Just let me know so I can say no. I'm too tired at least. But no, I'm super excited about it. I think this is absolutely incredible. The reviews all seem excellent, all really praising it. I have seen a couple negatives out there and just a couple things that the developer has said that's kind of made me like, oh, really? And I'll get into those things. But yeah, I mean, Tribute Games, I would say just right off the bat. I mean, they worked on Scott Pilgrim.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim versus the World was absolutely incredible. And this game just reminds me very much of last beat 'em up game I played was River City Girls, which was excellent.
I've been wanting to play that one. That's a good one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one's really good. It's actually really hard. It's like really really hard though. And what's the other one? Domamu or whatever. I forget that. I can't forget that name.
Domitsu, I believe. Yeah.
Domitsu. Okay.
Yeah.
They also worked on Streets of Rage, which had like a ton of great content after the fact. So I'm really hoping that they make additional DLC for this game because the Streets of Rage DLC was incredible. So in terms of the stuff that like I've heard that I'm like about, that's not going to stop me from buying the game. I'm buying the game twice. Too Tall's already bought in the game twice. So it's available on Game Pass. I upped my Game Pass for a month, so I'll be playing on Game Pass. In addition to that, I purchased the digital copy on PlayStation 4, and I'll be playing that tonight, maybe with you guys, if possible. And then I also bought the physical copy from Target, thinking that was going to be delivered today, but wasn't delivered today. And then we'll be here in July sometime, maybe August. We'll see. But I essentially have the game 3 times over already. So I hope I hope with all my efforts they really make DLC for this game. One of the things that makes me sad is that the developer said there's not going to be skins.
Oh
So
yeah, and we were told that early on, right? I think I could be
I don't
wrong,
know.
but
I don't remember it. I don't remember them saying that there weren't going to be skins. I just read that recently, and maybe it was a reminder, but that kind of stuff. Just because the Ninja Turtles have such iconic suits and costumes and things that. Remember, J-Man, when I had my backpack full of Ninja Turtles,
oh
and
yeah,
I had I had the samurai Ninja Turtles, I had the trench coat.
the trench coat ones.
Yeah,
They could have
like
at least did those. They could have at least did the trench coat skins. That
yeah.
would have been nice.
I had like Turtles on Vacation. I had like there was just like so many variations of the Turtles and their outfits, and they were so iconic with their outfits because every outfit was individualized for like that individual Ninja Turtle. So it's kind of sad to see that they said they might make DLC. So in terms of, they said they might actually add an extra character. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that means that like they're not going to bring in any more levels or things of that nature. But I would love to see some more levels at a later point. I
Yeah,
would
that would
love to
be nice.
see some additional characters. I would love to be able to play as Krang or as Shredder or Bebop Rocksteady, the Rat King. So I don't know,
Metalhead, Blood
Metalheads.
Red.
Yeah, so just some of those turtles. So just anyone else. Like, give me more characters. And they said the pixels are just so complicated. Like, it's so detailed actually within this game that they said that's the reason why they can't add skins. And if they're that detailed, it may take some time to provide DLC. But really looking forward to this game. It's a gorgeous pixelated game, and yeah, I'm so eager for it and so anxious for it. I'm already like sad that we might not get DLC. So that's my excitement for it.
Yeah,
It's not a knock on the game. I love the Ninja Turtles, always have, and I'm looking forward to playing this one.
yeah. What are the negatives you've heard about it from reviewers? I'm just curious.
Well, I just kind of mentioned some of them
Oh,
right there,
oh,
but
just no DLC and
yeah, and then that there
uh,
was going to be no skins. The only other negative I would say, in terms of that I've heard, is the levels can be a little bit repetitive. So
that's
there's
any Turtles game.
Is
yeah,
any beat
but
'em up game?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but there's only two types of levels. There's like the skateboarding type of levels in this game, and then there's like, of course, the side scrolling. There is ways to mix up beat 'em ups,
Mm.
and I would just take Castle Crashers as
Oh yeah.
as a great example of that. There was multiple different types of levels, riding the deer and having them fart through the level. Jumping on the carriage and shooting, giant cat monsters and stuff like that. Jumping on lily pads and having like that platforming and stuff like that. There's ways to break up beat 'em ups, and it's been done before, so I know it can be done again. And the other aspect, I would say, and this is for me personally, more so, is Raphael is my favorite Ninja Turtle, and he's kind of like the lamest I've heard so far out of all the characters in this game. That's what I'm hearing. I heard his suplex
Um,
is kind of weak. Like, his suplex isn't like the greatest thing in terms of like moves, and then just his overall like fighting. It's like he doesn't have the range of Donatello, Leonardo, or Michelangelo,
yeah, he has.
or Splinter.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he has like one of the lowest ranges, and
Mhm.
then, but I mean, I was using him earlier right before we jumped on, and I
Same.
had no problem with him, and
Yeah,
I
I had
think,
great fun.
I mean, Leonardo, I didn't like using him that much. I'm just being honest, but I haven't used them all yet, so I mean,
Because all he
I've
does
just
is
used the
kick.
turtles. Yeah, yeah, Leonardo, I've struggled with him. What about you, Max? You play any of the Ninja Turtles games growing up, and what are your initial thoughts on this one? You mean, I guess we influenced you to buy it, so it makes me feel
Yeah,
good.
this is the talk. This right here, you two guys. This is the inspiration for me to purchase this. Also, if you are looking to purchase this on the Switch digitally, it is 10% off right now until I think the end, or like until next week. So that was also a pretty good incentive too.
nice.
Um, but I'm not as big of a turtle fan as you guys are. I can say that, but I definitely grew up with them. Turtles in Time, always my fave. Going to arcades, playing on Super Nintendo at friends' houses, and then, there was a remake of it on the Xbox Live, Xbox
Oh yeah,
360.
that was
Um,
terrible.
that one's terrible, but I had fun with it. um, but yeah, no, I love beat 'em ups. I love how this looks. It's beautiful on the eyes. Like the music in this is
Oh, the music is
really good.
excellent. Yeah, I
Oh
put a
Like,
yeah.
link. I put a link in the Discord to Spotify, but I'm sure it's
yeah.
on all platforms. Definitely check out the music. You got the rapper Mega Ran, and if you are familiar with the video game music, Mega Ran, he has a lot of good stuff. Definitely check him out. And then Ghostface Killer and Raekwon from the legendary hip hop group Wu Tang Clan sing a song for the soundtrack. So yeah, this game, yeah, this is a big banger, and
Mhm.
I think even if you're like not a fan of the Ninja Turtles or didn't grow up with them, if you just love beat 'em ups, you'll love this game.
Oh,
In
easily.
my opinion, just it's just so great. And then of course the Easter eggs again. I don't want to give anything away because you'll just find us. I know you're gonna be like, oh my god, they did their homework once you see this stuff. So. Yeah, so definitely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. It's
Wait, was Max done? Ooh.
Oh, I was
were
just
you
gonna say
done?
there's no. I'm just gonna finish off by saying there's a lot to do too, like with collectibles, with the references, with leveling your characters. Let's say you're doing solo runs and stuff like that. You have 6 characters to like run through that with, and I just love that there is that replayability because yes, beat 'em ups can get really samey. Beat these guys up, get to the end of the level, take out the boss, and sometimes that's not enough to keep people around. So adding a lot of this kind of stuff in, I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
agreed.
replayability is very good.
Mhm.
Yeah, so TMNT Shredder's Revenge. It's on sale right now on I think all platforms because I think it's a little cheaper on PlayStation as well and probably Xbox. But if you do have Game Pass, you can play it on Game Pass, and if you have the upper generation of systems, it is backwards compatible. So just keep in mind if you have a PS5, there's only one PS4 version. There's only one Xbox One version if you have a Series X or S. So, but I mean, I bought the game twice. It's fun. I'm looking forward to just hopefully playing with everyone I know. So it'll be a good time, definitely. So speaking of Nintendo Switch, a little bit of Nintendo news. There's a direct coming later this month in the month of June, and I believe it's going to be at the end of the month, sometime the 28th, if I'm reading my calendar correctly, 28th or 29th. That's what I've been hearing. Any predictions for this rumored direct? Anything you guys want to hear about on the Nintendo side of things when it comes to video games? Max, let's start with you.
Um, there is one thing, but we're going to be talking about it later. Other than that, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty excited for Sunbreak, the massive expansion for Monster Hunter Rise. But yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. The big one is coming that I want to talk about. So
F man, you any predictions? Anything you want to see or anything you think they'll talk about?
I don't know about predictions. I know we don't have a lot, or we haven't had a lot to look forward to for Nintendo this year. So
Not
I
really.
think this is really going to give us kind of a glimpse of what we're going to see for the rest of the year, along with early 2023. So hopefully that includes Bayonetta. Um, they
yeah,
they've been Bayonetta 3 is just like it's been forever. So looking forward to hopefully seeing that game. I know fans would be remiss to like if they just really want to hear about Breath of the Wild 2, since we did get that delayed, and that was supposed to come out this year. Just any information about that, I'm sure just would kick off the showcase. let's see. Animal Crossing DLC I would be nice. I mean, Animal Crossing was the biggest game of the year for them last year, which was like super unexpected for Nintendo.
Hmm.
Let's see. And then I think the other one is just going to be Metroid. I know we just got Metroid Dread, but, you know, Nintendo fans are clamoring for Metroid 4. You know, so, I mean, if we get just two of those, I think it'll be an incredible direct for,
Mhm.
you know, Nintendo's case. And yeah, if they can give us some time frames on those, I
Hmm.
think I think that'd be great. I know Breath of the Wild we'll see early next year, but if they can put a release date on Bayonetta and yeah,
Metroid Prime 4. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I know for me, I would like to see them just improve their Nintendo Switch Online service. I know I keep always saying this, but give us some Game Boy, give us some Game Boy Advance. I would like to see some of that come with this direct. I've been hearing rumors of a new Donkey Kong Country game possibly coming out with the return of King K. Rool. That would be great. One of my favorite platformers of all time when it comes down to it. And uh, yeah, just I would like to see just some 3DS titles get ported to the Switch. Like I know they well, I can't think of the game at the moment, but I know they did like the remake of what was it, Link's Awakening, and they put that on the Switch. They redid it, so I would like to see like either more ports come from the 3DS to the Switch, or just do like some more like remakes or something like that. I would like to just see something, see what they got going on there.
I think the biggest problem with that is just the
Mm,
licensing. Like
yeah,
Nintendo doesn't want to pay anyone
Yep.
anything, you know.
Nope.
yeah, that's a
So
problem.
and like most of the ports are going to be from third parties. It's the best, some of the best ones at least.
Yeah,
So I honestly don't see.
ports
At this
happen.
point, I don't see that happening.
Mm, fair
Yeah,
enough.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I know one rumor that's been talked about, and apparently it's expected to break the internet if it does happen. A James Bond GoldenEye 007 remaster. Um, would you guys entertain it? Would it break the internet? I mean, it was the first game of its kind. Well, sort of. I mean, unless you want to count Doom, but I
Mhm.
don't. GoldenEye. Finance, were you a big GoldenEye fan? GoldenEye fan back in the day?
yeah. I mean, I was reasonable. I wasn't a fan of the actual the actual IP
Mm,
Goldeneye. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I liked James Bond, but I wasn't, too thrilled about it. In terms of first person shooters, I at that time, like, I hated first person shooters. I was not the person I would to play those. I would play because my friends wanted to play. And yeah, Goldeneye was reasonably fun. I did have a good time with it. Uh, Playing it now, it's man, it's just crazy how how far gaming has come when playing back on
You can
those.
say it's crap.
I mean, it is when you're looking through the lens now, but just back then it wasn't. It was revolutionary. It was absolutely amazing, especially for a console,
Mhm.
and just to have it in 3D was absolutely amazing. Now looking back at those levels were so
Oh,
sparse.
oh
There
boy.
was there's nothing on those levels.
The faces of the people. Oh,
Yeah, the
Those are
faces.
the
oh man.
developers.
Yeah.
So I would
Oh
say
man.
we would need much more than a remake, and people have done remakes of the game since then, and
Hmm.
Nintendo just has repeatedly torn them down. Like someone in like the last one I heard of in Far Cry, I believe it was like Far Cry 5. They remade GoldenEye in Far Cry 5, and um, Nintendo filed a lawsuit against them to have it removed. Um,
Ridiculous. It's
yeah,
just ridiculous.
so, even though it didn't include any of Nintendo's assets or anything like that, they used the in-game engine to build that out. Like they actually had no ground to have them take it down. But anyway, besides the point, I think they're gonna need just more than a remake. Like it
Um,
needs to be like, I mean, it needs to be a complete remake. It needs to be from like the ground up. It needs to be basically a whole new game. in order for me to be interested in it. But if they just like up the res count and the frame rate of the old game, then I have no interest.
Mhm.
What about you, Max? You interested in this GoldenEye remaster that keeps getting talked about between Nintendo and Xbox?
You know what? I am. I'd love to be able to revisit this on the Switch, and I would love it for it to be optimized for a controller a little bit better, because there are a ton of remade versions of GoldenEye out there on mouse and keyboard, and that's the superior way to play this game. It's just it almost feels like it should have been made initially for that, because yeah, playing GoldenEye with a controller comparatively, it's a nightmare. It is not. It's not
Especially the
great.
N64 controller.
Oh
Man.
yeah,
Oh.
you need 3 hands for that thing.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, like what I'd love to see it, and I'd love to see some extra things that, like, for example, the Castlevania Advance Collection has the type of things that you would usually see in kind of like a remastered collection with like pausing and skipping and rewinding. I'd like to see something like that incorporated into GoldenEye to make it a little bit more easily accessible. And maybe some more just some more extra levels. They had some extra skins. I did an episode on this a while back, and they actually had at the time the rights for other Bonds in the multiplayer, like other actors. And I think that I don't quote me on this, but I think that they made character models for them, which I think would be really cool to see if they brought that back. Tying that though to kind of the things that I want to see with GoldenEye Remastered, actually is a game that was featured recently on the PC Game Show called Agent 64. Spies Never Die. Have you guys seen this yet?
Yeah, I saw a little glimpse of it.
No, I
Yeah.
haven't.
It's
haven't.
really
Check it out.
cool. It's done in a way. It's a game created in the same polygonally weird way as like GoldenEye. It's a completely. It's not. It has nothing to do with James Bond. It's a completely isolated, original story and characters. And one of the coolest aspects that I thought that they provide for this is you can create your own levels, and other people can play them.
Oh, right on. That sounds pretty cool.
Mhm. So if
No.
we don't get GoldenEye, we do have that.
No, I mean I'm down for like a Minecraft-esque like level editor if like it's that like type of if it's that type of game. But like I know right now Microsoft is working on Perfect Dark,
Yeah.
Perfect Dark and GoldenEye are almost synonymous like with each other in terms of like that age and first person gunplay.
Mhm.
Some people are just diehard GoldenEye, some people are Perfect Dark. I'm more Perfect Dark myself, but like I know we're not getting just like the N64 Perfect Dark when they come out with this next iteration in the series. It's being made for a whole new generation, and I'd like to see that with GoldenEye too, personally. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if we don't, there's so many ways to play GoldenEye, and there's so many ways to play GoldenEye better than GoldenEye.
Yeah, there is definitely. And then one last piece of Nintendo Switch news. Well, actually, two pieces. We'll talk about the N64 Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Pokemon Snap 64 is coming to the service. Ready to take a photo of your favorite Pokemon in Pokemon Snap?
I do that in Pokemon Go still.
I mean, I guess it's coming. I mean, you think about it. Pokemon Snap is now what Pokemon Go is. Well, back then, I guess.
well, they just came out with Snap, the new Snap game for
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
Switch.
that's right. So
So
like,
it's another N64 game on
mm,
which the Switch doesn't have a ton of N64 games on their online service. So I mean that's great. Other than that, it's fine.
and then a last piece of Switch news, and I don't know if you guys are checking the Discord. One of our contributors to this podcast, Matthew Bliss, aka the Professor, he purchased a Nintendo Switch.
No way.
Check the Discord. Check the Discord.
Oh, that
Wow. I
I,
don't even
I,
know. I don't even know that guy anymore. He's just who is he? He's
red
purchased a
and blue.
Switch.
yeah,
Did
he
he just?
purchased this.
Did he get a
Yeah.
promotion? Like what's going
I don't
on?
Wow.
know. I thought he was going to get the Steam Deck before he got a Switch. Quite frankly, but I mean, yeah. I mean, he has a Switch, so I mean, I'm going to give him a ton of suggestions once we
Mhm.
get off. But Metroid Dread was the top of my list. I know he'd love that, especially the type of gamer he is.
I'm
Uh,
interested to see what it was that finally broke the straw.
Hmm.
I
Was
could
it a
tell you. I
game?
could tell. I could tell you who it was. It was the Game and Watch podcast.
Oh, like and subscribe.
Yep, that's what we do. We have that influence on people. We influence people to, get games like
Oh my god, the turtles.
like
What have
like
you done to me?
turtles, like turtles, and get them consoles like the Switch. Even though the other half of the podcast still doesn't have a Switch yet, but I thought you would have had one before him, quite frankly. But
It's always in the cards. Yeah, just yeah. You already know my reasons, but
yeah, I know your reasons. I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that later. All right, main topic, main discussion. Let's get into what was discussed at the rest of the Summer Game Fest. So Xbox and Bethesda had their showcase, and I'm going to go through right now, go through everything that was announced and revealed. So let's see, we got Redfall. That was we saw some gameplay there. Again, not coming out this year, so sorry, Xbox fans. Hollow Knight Silk Song. We got a new trailer there. High on Life. A Riot Games is coming to Game Pass. A Plague's Tale Requiem is we saw a little bit of that. One of something I'm looking forward to. Forza Motorsport. That looks like a really good one. Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've been hearing a lot about that one. Overwatch 2. We already discussed that. Aura History Untold. The Elder Scrolls Online Island. Fallout 76 The Pit. Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels DLC. I know you're ready for that, Finest. You love you some Hot Wheels, man. Arc 2, Scorn, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Minecraft Legends, Lightyear Frontier, Gunfire Reborn, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, As Dusk Falls, Naraka Blade Point, Pendiment, Grounded, Arabian Shadow Legacy, Diablo 4, which we already talked about, CFD Season 7, Ravenlock, Cocoon, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Persona. It's a Persona collection, yeah, it looks like. And then some Hideo Kojima Xbox partnership. Then, with Kojima involved, you never know. You never know. And then, of course, Starfield, which again is not coming out this year. Sorry, Xbox fans. So, Finest, with you being owner of the Xbox Series X, are you excited what you saw with the showcase, or are you still kind of like dreading your purchase, like you said several episodes back?
man, yeah, I wasn't excited with the showcase.
Yeah, I didn't think
Uh,
so. I really didn't think so. I'm sorry, but
it's just that like one big aspect of this is like they first off they said like these games are going to be the games that are coming to Xbox for the next year, the next 12 months. Asterisks around the Kojima game. That's not coming in the next 12 months. But yeah, it's just kind of tough because like a lot of it was DLC, like the Hot Wheels, it's DLC added to Forza, and then just I don't know, just a lot of the other ones were DLCs. So there wasn't anything really big from first party. A lot of this is going to still be multi-platform. The fact that like Xbox still has to honor all those deals that were made, made prior to them purchasing Bethesda and Activision and everything. it's really biting them in the butt right now because Sony is
Yeah.
still gonna get all these games, or a majority of them at least. And so, man, Xbox really went out of their way to like not tell you like what out of all these games that any of these games are coming to PlayStation also. So you really have to like if you go into the actual like blogs or websites, it'll tell you that these games are like a lot of these games are multi-platform. Yeah, the showcase was really long, and
Yeah,
I know
it was super long,
well,
man.
we've already talked about that. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It was it's tough. Well, I mean, we're going into like 3 years of these consoles, and we just have not seen a lot, especially from the Xbox side. PlayStation, like we at least know what's coming, and we've already experienced some of the things that they've promised. We've already gotten Horizon. We have God of War coming out. We had Spider-Man Miles Morales at the beginning of the generation. You know, we had Bugsnax exclusive to PlayStation for a long time. We had Sackboy's Big Adventure, and then in addition to that, we have Final Fantasy 16 coming. We have Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Don't forget about Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo, like
Yeah.
PlayStation. Like I felt like they went into this generation really thinking ahead.
They were prepared.
And yeah, really prepared. I don't think they're prepared for a pandemic. No one was.
No.
And yes, that is something I'm understanding about. Yes, we are in a pandemic. It's been tough on developers. But just thinking, Xbox really had a full generation of like nothing, like prior to this generation, and they could have been they could have been making deals with companies. Like they have they have the cachet to, like they have the money to put and build those relationships and solidify deals that are going to be exclusive to their system. But it just seems like they have a really tough time making those deals come to fruition. Like if you like, you're just thinking like Platinum Games was like, hey, Xbox, buy us. We want to make games for you, and then I forget the dragon game. It was on the tip of my tongue a second ago. But
Dragon's Dogma?
No. There was another game that
Dragon Age? No, that's EA. No, never mind.
No. Let's not just spit out
Okay.
Dragon Age. Okay.
We'll be here forever.
Yeah. And I'll look it up after I'm done spouting. But it seems like Fable. Like we didn't get a Fable announcement. We didn't get just a lot of the games that they said they've like been working on, or that the developers have been working on. We're just not getting them, and it's a little rough around the edges. And I wish I would have bought a PlayStation 5 for those PlayStation 5 games, but at the same time, I think I could have just waited on buying a next generation console. Really, I don't think it's necessary. Like we're barely getting to the point where PlayStation is like ending that cross-platform. You know, God of War I think is going to be one of the last ones.
And other third-party developers too. They're
and we're starting to see like more third-party developers say like, hey, we're not making for previous generations anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, like, I don't think I even need to buy a console. Like, I barely turn on my Xbox. I bought Elden Ring, for it, so I'm playing Elden Ring on it. But yeah, that's, I don't know. I'm not very happy with my purchase as of right now, and I know a lot of Xbox gamers are kind of on the same boat. So
yeah. I know the showcase didn't do a whole lot for you guys, and it's just my thoughts on it is right now the best thing Xbox fans has going for them is a Game Pass. Yeah, I hate to say it,
feel
but
like that,
but I mean, Max, what do you think of the showcase? I know you didn't see the whole hour and 30 minutes, but I mean, what was announced? What were your initial thoughts?
Well, breaking it down into 7 minutes online was very helpful. One of the biggest reasons to like that Finest touched on for why I dropped off the Xbox after Xbox 360 is this drought, and it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to end. I don't know. at the moment, and that's what's kind of keeping me not super invested in Xbox. But I don't know. Based on this showcase, I would say Redfall looked pretty cool, but then I thought, I have Left 4 Dead, I have Back 4 Blood, and that's essentially what this kind of looks like to me, just with vampires and maybe some
I wasn't
turtles, I
impressed
guess.
by that either. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's fine. It's another horror shooter, but I mean, what's gonna make me stop playing Back 4 Blood or Left 4 Dead for this, really? If it's gonna be the same. God, there really just wasn't a ton that really kept my interest. um, but yeah, I don't have a super ton, a lot to say about
Yeah.
it. It's just, yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what I liked about it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a racing fan. Forza Motorsport looked amazing. I mean, I can't wait for that. I mean, that's the Hot Wheels DLC that looks very fun, and
Mhm.
for me that was about really like the highlights of the show. I mean, there was really nothing else on this list that I mean I'm was like really jumping out of my seat about. I mean, Overwatch 2 that's going to be on other platforms. I'm not a big Minecraft fan, so I mean I'm not going to be playing that, and just see at these. I mean, I know you can only get so much with that. I mean, season 7, but I mean, I'm not like I said. I don't know if it's just their first party IPs or just they don't have they can't put out what Nintendo and Sony can do. I mean, I want to see them do well. I mean, I want to see all platforms do well. I mean, I'm no fanboy. I'm no loyalist to any console. I just go with whatever I feel is the most fun for me. And I mean, I think what really put the nail in the coffin for 2022 is those delays of Redfall and Starfield.
Mhm.
And I've been hearing criticism that Starfield looks similar to No Man's Sky. So
It okay. So in terms of, and I knew we are getting to this point, so I was
yeah,
just waiting to talk about Starfield, but
yeah,
ye- it doesn't look like No Man's Sky, but the mechanics in
mm,
terms of like the gameplay definitely do. Like there's mining in No Man's Sky. You have to mine for resources in Starfield. There's space flight. They very much did a No Man's Sky like thing. When No Man's Sky was originally advertised, they talked about like, oh yeah, you'll be able to visit infinite worlds and see these giant creatures and play the type of class that you want to play. You can play as an archaeologist, and you can play as this and that and that. And yeah, we just saw a lot of that in Starfield, and yeah, and Starfield just was like, yeah, you can visit like 1,000 planets. It's not infinite planets or a million planets like they said in No Man's Sky, but very much the same. And they, when sharing the characters and stuff like that, there was all that, and then there was like the jetpacks and stuff like that. I don't know. It was very reminiscent of No Man's Sky, but for me, it just looked very like slow paced. They said the story is actually only going to be around like 30 to 40 hours. But in terms of like exploration and additional things you can do, there's going to be plenty, I guess. But they did say a lot of the game is procedurally generated. And I think where No Man's Sky failed in the initial was that there was like a core mission for you to go to, and it just wasn't there wasn't a clear direction of what that was, but they made it better over time. And then there wasn't really anything outside of that. It's very much like an open world game where you can kind of just like make your own stories, but you don't necessarily. In the initial No Man's Sky, you didn't have like NPCs to really guide you the way. Now there's NPCs to help you, and there's a lot of different things you can really do. But it's more of an exploration game
Mhm.
than ever, and it seems like Starfield's going to be more of a single player game with the option to really just do the open world aspects. But yeah, yeah, I don't think there was anything exciting out of their trailer was the biggest thing.
Mhm.
It did look like something we've already seen before. Did look like No Man's Sky with better like more realistic graphics, not necessarily better. Um, because I love No Man's Sky's art aesthetic, and I think it's
Mhm.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: you explaining basically explaining what Starfield is more interesting than this trailer was. It really does. Like you
Yeah.
need to, and that's so important because like I feel like if you have a gem like that, and you know you have these mechanics and stuff like that, like I don't know. I'd like to see that a little bit more in your trailer. I guess you try to translate that a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and that's the thing too is maybe some of these trailers they don't hit that hard, they don't hit that are that interesting because they're just poorly made. But the games themselves could be like actually really amazing if you give them a shot, just giving them the
Yeah.
benefit of the doubt. But yeah.
I think Starfield kind of had like a Sonic moment.
Mhm.
Like in terms of like first gameplay,
Yeah.
because this is the first
Yeah.
gameplay that we've seen from it, and
Yeah.
Sonic,
Yeah.
we saw the first gameplay. It really wasn't that interesting. And Max, exactly what you said. Like as soon as you said that to me, like you just like clicked this thought in my like head. Like yeah, I actually had more interest listening to Todd Howard talk about the game after after the gameplay than I did
Yeah.
actually watching it. And that's where like I'm pulling my facts from. Like watching his interviews with IGN were absolutely incredible. So
Some people are just bad at trailers.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
go
yeah.
watch those
I
trailers,
thought,
people. Like that's where you're gonna get the best out of it and really be able to maybe make up your mind because the trailer really did not do that game justice.
yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the Xbox Bethesda side before we move on to what else was revealed for the rest of Summer Game Fest?
Yeah, just a quick
Hmm.
Scorn. Has that been like has that been like debuted like for like 10 years now?
Uh,
I don't
I'm not
know. I
sure.
feel like I've seen that like
It
way
looks
back
like
in like
something.
2012.
I saw the trailer just right now. It looks like something
Yeah.
that's been done before. So, would Finance, would you happen to know about Scorn?
I don't offhand. I was looking it up right now, but while I'm looking this up, one thing that disappointed me was Diablo 4 was not going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why people buy Game Pass. Like,
This is Xbox's life support. Like keep
yeah,
feeding it.
Yeah, it is.
and I'm sure they'll have other games. I mean, Ninja Turtles was like probably the most exciting thing for me, really out of their showcase. Like, hey, Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge is coming to Game Pass day one for you to play. And I'm like, yes, awesome. Like, if I really did not want to, I don't have to purchase this game anywhere else. But I already have, so it doesn't matter there. But if I want to play with Xbox people, I can play with Xbox people for free, essentially. Besides the monthly subscription. And yeah, I think that was like my biggest takeaways. Redfall, Max, you already mentioned this a little bit, but didn't seem that impressive. Yeah, I would play Dead by Daylight, rather than play this game. But yeah, it's just weird for Arcane. Arcane comes up like with pretty awesome games,
Mhm.
so it was kind of weird to just see this game and not see like any great anything that really just pulled you in and made you like want to play that game. It looked very generic in terms of like, oh, 4v1. Yeah. And then I would say also Max. So looking up this, it looks like the studio was founded in 2013. I'm not seeing any other trailers about this, but it looks like the game's been in development pretty much since then,
Yeah.
since 2014. So Kickstarter was also started in 2014.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because every now and then I would see something, it'd be like new footage or like test footage, and it would be like a guy holding a gun that's actually like a spine or something. And it's just like really gross. But yeah, it's interesting. It's finally coming out. Great.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. So that was a different game in 2014. So it hasn't been that long.
Mhm.
But it looks like This game was revealed or announced May 7th, 2020. So
Was it? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm from a different universe.
All right. So let's get on to what Capcom revealed, and it looks like they talked a lot about Resident Evil. You know, a lot of Resident Evil this, Resident Evil that. Well, we'll get into it. Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak, see Exo Primal. I have mixed reviews about this game. I don't think I'm gonna buy it. Looks like Dragon's Dogma. That was kind of teased, but I think they talked about it later on during the week. Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4, and then Resident Evil Biohazard, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. That was also talked about. And then some of the smaller things that were talked about is the Capcom Fighting Collection, which is due out next week. We'll talk about it during a rundown of the games. And then due out next month in July, another thing that they talked about was Capcom Arcade Second Stadium. And, you know, so if you're a big retro collector, you know, that definitely get into those. Great collection of games. I had the first Capcom Arcade Stadium collection, and yeah, that's pretty fun. Oh yeah, there it goes right there. You know,
Nice.
Yeah, Mega Man, the Power Fighters. Yeah, that's a good game. So yeah, just anything with the Capcom showcase that you guys were excited about, or was it just too much Resident Evil for you guys?
Never enough. Love Resident Evil.
I mean, that's what it seemed like to me. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
how do you guys?
I mean, for me, yeah, it's a lot of Resident Evil, but I mean, Capcom is really like turned their business around. So yeah, I'm excited that they're remaking Resident Evil 4. I'm excited that they're coming out with, you know, DLC for Village. I'm glad that that's going to be in VR. I think really Capcom is setting up for the future in terms of like making games not only playable through controller, but really blending that with VR. And I think that's really going to be the next phase of gaming. So I think it's important that everyone takes a look at that right now, because I think we're going to see that from a lot more games. I think most companies just haven't like figured out how to do it well, and Capcom has. You know, I think they're going to continue to do well for the purpose. Other than that, the fighting game, the compilation, the Capcom Fighting Beat 'em Up Bundle Collection, whatever it's called.
Fighting Collection, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I've already mentioned that a couple times. Just having all the soccer games in one place. I love Darkstalkers. I love fighting games. So super jazzed about that. And then Exo Primal, I know what a lot of people aren't like super thrilled about that game, because they're like, oh, it's not Dino Crisis. I'm kind of on the same boat, but I think that game still looks like a lot of fun. Like putting like a Anthem style mech suit on and fighting dinosaurs in a team-based environment. I think that could be like just a lot of fun. It seems very over the top, very Japanese. And that's like that's all me. That's like where my headspace is all the time. Like I just wouldn't. I mean, that was me in Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. If they would have gave me a mech suit in Horizon Zero Dawn, I would totally been down for that. Nice. Also, like fighting just robot dinosaurs. Yeah, so I'm kind of thrilled for that one. I just hope Capcom could really flush out like a well thought out loop. And I hope there is single player in it also. So it just does not rely on multiplayer where I'm just like, oh, like I bought this game and no one else bought it and I can't play it.
It doesn't seem like hopefully they have like a single player campaign or something for that game, because it's I don't think a lot of people are going to be buying the game. That's just me, but I mean, I gotta see more with it before make my decision. But Capcom, they're making some things happen, and with Resident Evil, the new stuff they got coming out, and even their older collection of retro stuff, they're definitely relevant in 2022, and they're a developer that all platforms, whatever platform you play on, you should be well respected, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
Monster Hunter is bigger than ever. Like
Yeah,
Max, I
Yeah,
know
easily.
you're all over that.
yeah.
Like Monster Hunter
Mm,
World was the most I've ever played a Monster Hunter game, and
mm,
I'd totally be down to do that again. But I'm like, I think Rise is actually more my jam because
yeah,
it seems like it's more user friendly than
Yeah,
World was.
accessibility is a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, so Capcom, I think they're doing a great job and they're on a roll.
yeah.
Honestly, I just can't wait for the next Mega Man game. Like
I was
bring me Mega
hoping.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, I was hoping that there would be a Mega Man announcement at this showcase, but who
Well, the
knows?
last one they did was one for the mobile phone, and that's
Yeah.
uh, Mega Man or Mega Man X Dive or something like that.
Well,
Um, yeah, and that was like the last Mega Man game that they did. So
if you want to play an older Mega Man game, just get the Capcom Stadium Second Arcade, however they say it. Yeah, the second art. Yeah, those Mega Man fighting games are on there. I'm sure you'll like those. Some of those old
yeah,
bosses from those original Mega Man games.
yeah. And I can't believe we're getting Dragon's Dogma too. So
Yeah, so
that
yeah,
was a big announcement,
Mhm.
and I know that has like a Dragon's Dogma has like a a pretty cult like following. So yeah, for me, like I I don't know which one came out first. I'm pretty sure Witcher came out first. But I think there was like for those fans, people that were fans of Witcher, like kind of stayed away from Dragon's Dogma. But Dragon's Dogma had some incredible and epic battles.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can't wait for a second one. I can't wait to see what they do with it.
yeah, for sure. All right. And then our last bit of news for Summer Showcase. Final Fantasy VII celebrated its 25th anniversary. First and foremost, I just want to say Final Fantasy VII is probably one of the best games ever made, regardless of what genre. Just if you have not had a chance to just even play it once, regardless of what genre of games you play, just give it a try. It's a very fun game. Not so much the remake, but you can get the old one on just about any platform now, even the Switch. So yeah, just go ahead, give it a try. See how y'all like it. I know some people would argue, Mark being one of them, that other Final Fantasy games were better, but I mean, regardless, this is one of the best ones ever made. So, with that being said, they announced a couple things for their 25th anniversary celebration. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion announced for this winter, and that was originally on the PSP. So, looks like that's going to be a nice remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 Rebirth is also coming this coming winter. And the Final Fantasy remake will not be a double game anymore. It will be a trilogy. So with those three announcements, where shall we begin? I say let's start with the it being going from 2 games to 3 games now, the trilogy.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how much more they're putting into this game that they need to make this a trilogy. I mean, I feel that I don't know. Maybe it's just me speaking out loud, but I feel like all this could have been just done in like one big stone, with some like DLC or
Mhm.
something. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I feel like this didn't need to be 3 games. Finance, I know you have the first remake, part one. What are your thoughts on it being a trilogy now?
Well, I want to correct you right off the bat. They never
Yeah.
said how many games it was going to be.
What?
Uh, yeah, they said they're going to remake the game. They said they're going to break it up into a series. They said it was going to be multiple games. They talked about releasing episodes like Hitman did, and then there was a lot of backlash on that, and then they're like, okay, no, we're going to release full games. But they very much said like this could be 2 games, this could be 3 games, this could be 4 games. We just don't know how development's going to look. And then, multiple years later passed and we got the first game. We got to see how much that took of the original Final Fantasy 7 of the the original game on PlayStation.
Mm,
And it was amazing what they did. Like they flushed out the game and the characters and gave us backstory for characters that never had backstories in that
Mhm.
original game. and they did it so well, and it just made you care about those characters so much more and give you a better understanding. And they're really just elaborated on the overall story and arcs. So yeah, that first game was absolutely incredible, and it covered such a small part of Final Fantasy. Like that's all within Midgar.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's
you
true.
know, it's amazing, and that is a full fleshed out RPG, and that game is absolutely amazing. And then with them coming out with Intergrade to to even add even more of that story in that after that initial game was absolutely incredible. And yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm glad that we now know it's going to be a trilogy because we did not know what that was going to look like before, but it's kind of what we all imagined it. At least Final Fantasy fans in the very beginning were like, dude, this is going to take like 15 years.
Yeah.
This is going to take a long time to get these games because we didn't get an initial timeline in the very beginning. But I think they're really, I think Square is really putting like all their eggs in this basket now that they've seen like Final Fantasy VII Remake did excellent. People are super stoked for Rebirth. I don't know how Intergrade did, but I'm sure that did well too. I'm sure it didn't do well as Final Fantasy VII, but I think people really want to really want to see the end of this trilogy. I think it's almost to the degree of Mass Effect, if not even crazier, because we've already seen where this goes, but Final Fantasy VII is just so iconic that I think this will be bigger than Mass Effect was in its trilogy. Yeah, I'm just excited. And this I would say before I shut up, I would just say this 10-minute showcase was the best showcase out of everyone that I've seen over the last month. This was epic for Final Fantasy fans.
Yeah.
So the PlayStation showcase was a great close second. One reason why that was a close second was because Final Fantasy 16 was included. If Square was like, no, we're going to keep Final Fantasy 16 for ourselves and we're going to show it in our showcase that is going to be a couple weeks after yours, I think this showcase would have just blown everyone's minds. It would have been absolutely insane. This was an excellent showcase. Only 10 minutes. That's all I needed, and they gave everything I wanted. And I'll get into more about it later, but I'll let you guys talk. J-Man, Justin, I think it's your turn. Or Max, have you
No,
gone?
Max. Yeah, Max.
Sure.
Yeah, Max. Oh.
So I picked this one up day one on its release as well, and not being the biggest Final Fantasy fan prior, this game made me one. After I finished the remake, I went to Steam and I purchased the original because I wasn't done with it. I was just like, what's past Midgar? I gotta know, and that was my first. Well, I wouldn't say it was my first venture into Final Fantasy VII. That was that movie. you know the one I'm talking about?
As Your Children, yeah.
Yeah, As Your
Yeah.
Children.
I had that on my UMD for my PSP, and I used to
Yeah.
watch that over and over and over again on my original PSP. Yeah.
Oh, and it would be a terrible movie, but also awesome. And it just would get me so hype as a kid. I was like, whoa, what is going on? And then I finally, years later, touched upon it. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for this too, and Crisis Core as well.
Crisis Core.
Crisis Core was great on the PSP. That was, I think, one of the highlight games on that machine. And I'm very excited to see where Remake Part 2 and Part 3 go. And with not only with the amount of that they can, like, I guess, condense and all these characters that they can give spotlight to that never originally had. They also have that, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but there is like certain changes in the world that aren't necessarily part of the original story that kind of is also plays into the story of the remake, which I think would validate another like having 3 games like that. And then in between, they could have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Dirge of Cerberus, and I would play that. You guys ever play that?
That was the one I didn't play. Back in the day, I just remember people telling me how horrible it was. So I stayed away from Dirge of Cerberus, even though what was his name, like Vince Valentine?
Vincent, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Vincent
Vincent.
Valentine. Yeah, he was like my favorite character from the
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII. Even though he like, he was like only there for like such a small portion of the game. But yeah, it was the fact that we get like Crisis Core like is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. So just the fact that they're like leaning into like Final Fantasy 7 that much is absolutely insane. That we're getting like the full fleshed out story. We're getting like everything from the prequel to like they're like filling in those gaps of like Advent Children like from the movie. They're like leaning into that. We're getting 7. We got Integrate. We probably will get more middle like DLCs. Like we probably will get another DLC after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out.
Yeah.
And all these games are supposed to come out relatively soon. I think
Yeah,
they said
winter,
like
right?
late. Yeah, one is Crisis Core is coming out this winter, and then Rebirth is supposed to come out next winter by next winter.
Mhm.
So the way like Square is just like cranking out games, and then we're getting Forspoken in October, and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final
it's
Fantasy
absolutely
16.
insane.
That's just
Final Fantasy 16 sometime next year. Like
Yeah, they're on a mission.
yeah.
they're on a mission, and
They got an
they're
army working there. They got a,
yeah, the amount of RPGs that they're cranking out and the caliber that they're cranking them out is epic right now. And I have so much respect for them because they have been hit or miss in a lot of their games. And I'm just stoked. Like I honestly, like I don't know how far I'm going to get in Elden Ring, but like this made me want to pick up Final Fantasy VII Remake again and jump back into Integrate also. Just to get ready for these next games to come out.
I like how they showed off the Steam Deck in that trailer, saying, "Hey, this game will work with the Steam Deck, specifically made for the Steam Deck." Steam Deck will probably be the next like major console I pick up or handheld I pick up. I mean, that's just me, but yeah, back to this. Yeah, Square's just doing a lot of things right now, and if I were to deem any winner of Summer Game Fest, it would probably be them. I mean, with what they announced at the the PlayStation Showcase, and like Vina said, they could have been greedy, and we could have been like, no, well, we'll just make our own showcase, we'll show it all. But the fact that they let them show it, and then you got the whole thing with with the whole Final Fantasy 25th year celebration. It's making me want to go purchase the game now for my Switch,
Yeah.
just play the old game all over again. I mean, it's a great game, man. I mean, I played it back in the day, didn't beat it. I think I got almost to the end. I mean, I would like to, give it another crack at it, see how far I can get, with the limited time I have, to play video games as much as it already is. But, it's just good to see. At Crisis Core, I didn't have a PSP, but I've heard nothing but good things about Crisis Core, and just that really should be amazing. Also, it looks like it's going to be a full-on remake, right? Or just
Yeah,
yeah.
it still looks like it doesn't look like Final Fantasy VII.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
the graphics definitely don't look that good, but
Yeah.
it definitely looks comparable. Like it looks like a really good, I would say like PS4. Or say like maybe like a PS4 game, or
Yeah.
maybe PS3.
Yeah, maybe
Like
PS3, but yeah, just
top of the PS3, maybe the beginning of the PS4 era.
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that because I've seen older images of that game. I don't think it looked very good if you were to like blow it up on TV or anything like that.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like they did put some work in there. So I definitely am a little curious. I may definitely check that out. Crisis Core. But yeah, just I think they're the real winners here. I mean, in terms of what they got coming out. I mean, I guess we can always wait to the end of the month to see what Nintendo has. But I mean, they didn't want to be part of the Summer Game Fest. That's probably why they're doing their direct toward the end of the month.
Yeah.
Nintendo does Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Before we end it all, just your thoughts on Summer Game Fest. Is it the new E3? Does E3 need to come back? I just want y'all's opinion, Max.
I'm content with this because
Mm.
it's the way that it's done is just very much like, here's a trailer, here's a world premiere, let's talk a little bit about it, moving on, let's go to the next one. There's not a lot of like filler space with like some things like, oh, here's a car ad, or like here's like a, I don't know, I think there was an Xbox showcase at E3 a couple years back where it's just like, check out, speaking of the Xbox, check out this car, the Porsche, whatever. And it's just like, I don't care. I can't afford that. But I like how digestible it is. I think comparatively.
What about you, Finest?
I would say like this is like thinking back, like since like we were young, we weren't press, like so like we never got to attend these events. So very much like E3 has always been a digital showcase
Yeah.
for the most part, except for those like few years that we did get to go. Because I was always on my computer. I was always on like have 50 different tabs open for different websites, opening them all and trying to digest all that information from everywhere. And it's very much like this in the same respect. I'm doing that now. I think this was a little bit better than last year because it was a little bit more condensed, and like everything was shown like at Summer Game Fest or the PlayStation or Xbox, but all within like the same week and a half and things of that nature. So I like that aspect. I still think it could be tighter.
Yeah.
Xbox showcase was still so long. Summer Game Fest was really too long, and
I was off that
really,
day, so I saw the whole thing. But
yeah,
it was pretty long.
yeah. I mean, well, it was more than one day. Summer Game
Yeah.
Fest was like four or 5 days, like,
Yeah.
and I was just like watching the different like developer interviews and all that stuff. I think they really need to break that up more. Like that shouldn't be like part of their like general schedule. Really give us the games, give us the developers, and then we can kind of pick and choose the developers that we want. But just having them intermingled and everything kind of ruined it for me. It made me watch it less because I didn't want to have to wait like 2-3 hours to see like the next game that I was interested in. So yeah, there's that aspect. I think this was a pretty bad year overall. Square's pretty much like the top of my list in terms of like what I've seen this year. But I'm glad that it was more condensed than last year, and that's probably the highest praise I can give it.
I mean, I think it can be better structured, but yeah, last year it was just all over the place. I mean, I'm glad Capcom had a better showing than what they did last year. Because last year what they showed was garbage. So so I mean, I think it's gotten a little better. If E3 does come back, I do think that they should just really get together with Jeff Keighley and hopefully just try to make it mesh all together. So it's just all structured. All right, this day is this thing. This day is that thing. This day it's Sony. This day it's Nintendo. This day it's Microsoft Bethesda. And hopefully just don't make the showcases that long.
Yeah,
If it's
you don't need
anything,
to drag them out.
yeah, if it's anything I do like about Nintendo Directs is they don't make them that long. It's only like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the most. They don't make them that long. Like you don't. I mean, you
I'm
don't
sure
gotta
people
have.
are saying that about this podcast right now too.
Yeah, it's all good though. I mean, hey, there are podcasts out there that go longer than this one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
mine's like 20 minutes.
yeah, but just time flies by when you're having fun, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Gonna put this one in the books. Well, before we do that, the release rundown of what's coming out next week, and we do got some games coming out that we think you guys will be interested in. June 21st, we have Fall Guys coming to the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Switch. Shadowrun Trilogy coming to the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and X, Xbox One, and Switch. We also have Wreckfest coming to the Switch. That's already on the PlayStation, PS5, and PS4, I believe, because I got it on Game Pass. Not Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, excuse me. But yeah, that's all right, I guess. June 23rd, we got Deliver Us the Moon for the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Naraka Blade Point. We talked about this one earlier for the Xbox Series X and S. Uh, and Game Pass also on Windows. Sonic Origins coming to the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Um, Capcom Fighting Collection coming to the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. June 24th. Also June 24th, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. And that's coming to the Switch. Obviously, it's a Nintendo exclusive. And then Madison coming to the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and X, Switch, and PC. Any game next week out there that you're interested in buying, or that our viewers or listeners should buy or recommend? Finest. I know the Capcom Fighting Collection.
Yeah, Capcom Fighting Collections is primo. You have the Street Fighter, Puzzle Fighters in there. You have all those Darkstalker games. Just all those ones that came out in arcade that aren't easily accessible now. Like you may be able to get like one through the Xbox Store. Yeah, and I don't think there's any on PlayStation. Other than that, I would say Fire Emblem. I wonder if that's going to be a banger,
Yeah.
like the last Fire Emblem was. And other than that, I guess that's it for me.
Max, anything on this list you'd recommend or you're interested in?
The two big ones for me are definitely as well Capcom Fighting Collection and Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes. Fire Emblem Warriors, always a big fan of Musou games. Always a big like if you've ever played Breath of the Wild Warriors or Legend of Zelda Hyrule
Yeah.
Warriors, that's the one.
Usos are bigger than ever right now. Like
Oh yeah,
the Persona Strikers was like
yeah.
I was shocked by that one, and then the Zelda Musou game too. I forget what that one's called, but that one's super big too.
Yeah, yeah. It was like Hyrule Warriors, and then they came out with a second one
Yeah.
for Breath of the Wild. But yeah, this is the second Fire Emblem Muso. The first one was all right, but this one, I'm interested to see kind of where they go with it because Three Houses, really, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Free Houses I heard was very good. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not the biggest fan of Fire Emblem games, but yeah, the last one I heard did nothing but good things. So
Hmm.
Three Hopes, I think will do well. Fall Guys, if you don't have it, download it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's not my cup of tea, but I mean, it's on other consoles now.
Yeah.
Wreckfest, if you guys like, you know, uh, car wrecking, I guess. What do they call it?
Demolition Derby.
Demolition Derby, yeah, Demolition Derby stuff. I mean, it's on the Switch now, so any of you Switch fans can get it. Um, anything else on Capcom Fighting Collection? I mean, I'm not the biggest fighting game fan. Get it? Sonic Origins, stay away from, I guess. I don't know, but that's about it for me.
Just play one of the other million Sega collections. You'll do it cheaper.
And then yeah, that's about it for me. So with that, we'll put this episode in the books. You've been watching or listening to episode 92 of the Game and Watch podcast. If you've made it to the end, thank you for staying with us the whole 2 hours and 10 minutes. Join us again for another episode. We might be preempted next week. Just follow us on our social media, but we will be doing another episode very soon. So until then, keep on gaming and have a good one. Later, y'all.
Let's
See you.